Hiring? Look, every business needs great people and a better way to find them. Something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it. ZipRecruiter knew there was a smarter way, so they built a platform that finds the right job candidates for you. ZipRecruiter learns what you're looking for, identifies people with the right experience, and invites them to apply to your job. These invitations have revolutionized how you find your next hire. In fact, 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. And ZipRecruiter does not stop there. They even spotlight the strongest applications you receive, so you never miss a great match. The right candidates are out there. ZipRecruiter is how you find them. Businesses of all sizes can trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. Right now, my listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Wingo. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Wingo. ZipRecruiter.com/Wingo. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
This is the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast.
All right, Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2 is always presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our phone guests in the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Buster only about 30 minutes from now. He'll talk about Yu Darvish now signing with the Chicago Cubs and when in the world all the rest of these guys are going to sign. But we were talking about the Cavs, gentlemen. So let's hear from LeBron James after all those players I mentioned, the four new Cavs, Jordan Clarkson, George Hill, Larry Nance, Rodney Hood, combined for 49 points, 18 of 35 shooting. They bludgeoned the Boston Celtics. Here is what LeBron James had to say about the win afterwards.
But it's a good start, man, it's almost like the new guys have been here. Started with George and, his on-the-ball pressure and, him just running the team. And then the three guys came off the bench. Jordan is he's ready to score at any point in time, but his composure was great. Rodney plays with so much poise, and Larry was just controlling the perimeter, saying great pick and rolls, got him a lob, got him a dunk. It's a good start for the new guys, good start for all of us, with our revamped team so far.
Yeah, you think? Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't. They destroyed one of the best defensive team in the league. What are they? One or two? I think they're one. Number one. They just got destroyed. The one thing you can't expect, all of a sudden, J.R. Smith found his shot. He's been shooting horrible all year. He goes 6 of 7, 3 of 4 from 3-point land. Mm-hmm. George Hill's 2 of 4 from. I'm sorry, he was 2 of 4. Jordan Clarkson's 3 of 4. Rodney Hood's 3 of 6. I mean, they're just not going to shoot that great in the 3-point land from 3-point land the entire time, but it was a nice meshing the first time around for what each guy is going to offer. And then you remember there's no Kevin Love yet back, from the broken hand.
That's setting up, by the way, for Kevin Love to be the scapegoat for anything that goes wrong. This is real. I feel for the guy because I know exactly what freight train is coming for him. But Listen, that's how the Cavaliers have won in recent history. They've become, like the Golden State Warriors, like the Houston Rockets, a 3-point shooting team, a team that's going to flip the math on you. And I think seeing guys like Tristan Thompson, like J.R. Smith get re-energized as much as LeBron James was big for last night, seeing those guys be more of who we saw in the past is going to be a huge reason for this team because I don't know these guys' relationships enough to say, well, they like playing with each other enough, but they at least don't hate playing with each other the way they clearly did with that last team.
Right.
Where it looks like there's just a grimace the entire time. Like it pains me to have to play with this guy. So frustrating. So good news for the Cavs. All right, now to the news of the day. We cannot talk enough Winter Olympics. Yeah. That's really what we're fired up about.
Pyeongchang's. Touch sounder.
Right. By the way, speaking of just the early morning etiquette here. So I didn't have a chance to order my own breakfast. So well, just grab whatever Wingo eats, which is great. You got eggs, spinach, you get some cheese.
Sure.
Also, my guy goes Coke Zero at 6:30 a.m.
That's how he rolls. That was Bob Picozzi did that all the time for years with Mike and Mike.
And Picozzi was not Coke Zero. That had to be
that was the good stuff. Yeah. That was good old-fashioned cane sugar.
Yeah. And Mike Jr. goes Muscle Milk at 6:30 a.m. Now, in fairness, you've been on the air already for 2 hours.
Yeah, no, it's already, this is basically like lunchtime for me at this point. There's a whole lot of weird going on around here right now. So we've got Coke Zero and Muscle Milk. Yeah. I look over on the screen during the Sports Center update, and my dad's got college wrestling streaming on YouTube right now.
Kyle Snyder lost.
That's what he looks at. I look at him during the Sports Center update, and I say, Dad, what the hell are you watching right now? And that's exactly what he said. He goes, Kyle Snyder lost.
Kyle Snyder hasn't lost in collegiate wrestling since 2015, the finals of his freshman year at 197. He lost to this kid, Adam Kuhn, the wrestler from Michigan heavyweight. I mean, And listen, someone just tweeted me, what do you think of Kyle Snyder's loss? I mean, what do you want me to think? I mean, sometimes you don't wrestle as well as you want, or the other guy wrestles better, you know? So yeah, I was watching to see how Adam beat Snyder, but that's an impressive win. If a guy doesn't lose for 3 years, you're not telling me that's impressive, that a guy beats him and that's not worthy of watching. And you know how much I love wrestling.
I do know how much you love wrestling, but I also know what we were getting ready to talk about, and it wasn't that.
Yeah, we have sound here from Snyder.
I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah, so that's
oh my God.
That's what he
my God. I'm going to punch both of you. I'm going to punch Yang Chunks, both of you guys tonight.
Let's talk Winter Olympics here.
Oh my God.
Now, Mike threw this out to me. What's the sport you most want to do? And honestly, you didn't know this about me. I love the ski jumping.
I know you love the ski.
I can't get enough of it. Honestly, are you kidding? I watched 2 hours of ski jumping. She goes, this gets pretty monotonous quickly. I go, no, it doesn't. The phenomenal form, the flying V. Norway always crushed it.
Listen, Adnan was glued to Eddie the Eagle when it came out. Front and center.
How could you not be? Yeah. Certainly better in shape of one that we'll get into. But,
Cinephile review coming later.
I like watching this ski. Elena Deladon tweeted out, I loved her tweet. She said, what are the I forgot what she called them. The plants coming out of the ground at the bottom. And I I said a couple of things. I said for depth perception to land, and I said or to soften the blow when I crash into it. Because if I were to ever do a ski
you're right.
jump.
They sit on the broadcast. That's for depth perception. Otherwise,
the pineapple tops. That's what she said.
It's just a sea of white.
Yeah,
what the hell am I? Actually, it does come in handy.
Exactly. I love watching the ski jump. If you said I could only watch one event, though. For me, outside of curling, which I think is everybody's
doing
favorite.
or watching?
Watching.
Okay.
Watching.
Okay, let's go doing first.
Yeah.
Well, all right. If we again, my wife threw this tweet out to the text out to the family. Can't be curling because we could all kind of do curling. We could all do curling without any real fear of injury.
For nothing sounds like a fun afternoon show activity.
It really does, and there's really no fear of getting injured.
No,
okay,
exactly.
So what would I actually be able to do?
Yeah.
It would probably be the biathlon, just because I could go as slow as I wanted to. I mean, it's not like I can do downhill skiing and really go slow once I start gravity takes care of
If you
that.
French fry when you're supposed to pizza, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, there you go. So probably the biathlon, which is a long cross-country ski, and then they stop and shoot. Let me tell you, I was mesmerized at that. Because again, if you miss any of the 5 shots, you're doing a 150-meter penalty lap for each miss. I mean, that's damning, man. But at
so
least
biathlon you could do. What would you want to? Obviously, I could not.
I would want to do
jump.
downhill.
Yeah.
I would want to do downhill. I love the downhill. I'm watching the downhill. They're going over 60 miles an hour. The losers are going over 80 miles an hour. It's ridiculous.
The skeleton? Oh.
I mean, my God. Yeah, when you're going head first.
The skeleton brutal. Because to me, the luge you had for like 80 years, and they go, hey, what if you went head first? We'll call it the skeleton.
Yeah, because that's what you're going to turn into when you crash.
Yeah.
That's all that's going to be left as your skin is scraped off your body.
Right. For you, Mike, what's the one that you'd like to do, and what's the one you can most realistically do?
The one I could most realistically do is probably going to fall into like into the curling. I would want to do. No, that's the one I'd want to do. I want to figure skate. I want to be able to give people this beautiful piece of performance art. I want the leotard with the spark. Adam Rippon had an unbelievable top, sparkles everywhere, looked incredible. The flexibility. I tell you what. I can't skate worth a lick. I promise you the sassiest arm movements that you've ever seen. Right. Because you get that dance portion of it where you kind of get to let go. That's where I would shine. Creativity, effort, and energy.
The key, what would your song be?
Yes.
The Pokemon theme song.
The Pokemon theme song.
Devin is a fan of that one. The Pokemon theme.
Anyone like of a certain age, like around their like early 30s and below, is going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. And if you tell me I can get like an Ash Ketchum themed outfit and maybe a couple of Pokeball props out on the ice, and I think I can win you over with the theatricality.
I don't think you can get props on the ice.
Just to put this into perspective, the Italian dance team was dancing to Nino Rota, who's a famous Italian composer. The Canadian figure skater was dancing to Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue.
Of course.
And you'd go Pokemon.
Yeah.
Listen, if I'm going to be the brutish American out there tattooed and bearded on the ice, I'm going to lean all the way into it and go full Pokemon.
You might as well go Hell's Bells at that point. Just go.
I saw someone suggest raining blood by at some point you go all the way in the opposite direction, or you just go with what you know. I choose that.
Honestly, Yay, Germany. That's what I'm thinking about here.
So you would be ski jumping.
Ski jumping is the one, but you're right. I'd have to learn how to do it. I mean, imagine the training for ski jumping. Imagine training Mike at 4 years old.
I imagine the red splot that would be if you ski jumped. Of just him hitting the ice and bleeding all over it.
You wouldn't need to see the pineapple tops. No. You would just see the blood splat where Ed hits.
That's fear when I would go down that first slide. Like, oh my God.
That takeoff moment, though, would be worth all of it right there, right?
The flying V would be unbelievable.
But I mean, the Winter Olympics, I mean, those events are they're dangerous ones, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with the speed involved in these things.
What about bobsleigh? Like bobsled, maybe we could do that without dying?
At least you have a cover around you when you're in the bobsled. You know, the luge and skeleton, man, you fall, you're flailing down that chute.
Help me out here. 4-man bobsleigh. One guy drives, one guy is steering. What do the other two guys do?
Isn't one a brakeman? Isn't there a brakeman?
So there's a brakeman, there's a guy steering. The other two are along for the ride.
Dead weight, which I think we would do really well with.
We would be the dead weight middle guys.
We're making sure this thing doesn't go careening off the track.
The Golics coming soon to a 4-man bobsleigh near you.
Awesome.
Tweet us right now at Mike and Mike. Let us know what Winter Olympic sport you would most like to do and which. Oh, excuse me. There's the. I got to fine. I got to pay a fine. Tweet us
at Golic and Wingo.
At Golic and Wingo.
Or at Golic and Wingo.
This is the first fine of the day. Go ahead. I got $1.
No. It's the fines are $100.
Oh no, God! Jeez. Tweet us Golic and Wingo and let us know which Winter Olympic sport you would most like to do and which one you think you could actually do.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Trey Wingo and Mike Golic Sr.
I got one more tweet, guys.
Okay.
I just feel like this is like an honorary thing. Adnan's here. I want to make him feel welcome, and I know one of the rites of passage around here in the building is, Adnan, we have to mistake you for somebody that you're not here. Steve Johnson tweets in on the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. Tell Dari to slow his roll. Words are running together this morning.
Dari. Oh,
College football seminar. It was me, Anish Shroff, Kevin Nagandi, Adam Amin. We all just switched name tags and a picture together.
That was pretty funny.
This is what we deal with.
Yeah.
The bet, because none of us really look alike, of course.
No.
But the best is whenever, I don't know if you ever do this, but I asked Reese Davis, he goes, dude, I get called Chris Fowler all the time. And I said, so what do you do? He goes, well, I don't correct them, and I start acting like a jerk, and then it's open season. So he goes, the next time someone goes, hey, Nagandi, you're great. But you know what? And it'll be great. You can just assume the persona of somebody else. He'll never come back to you.
That's exactly right. That's a good point.
That picture at the college football seminar, that was really good. That was Kiss the Cook Beautiful right there.
Very good.
Not for nothing, that was a move I used to try and pull back in the day when you had house phones, and people used to have to call a landline. Once I hit puberty, our voices sounded very similar. So people would call from here all the time for my dad about very serious work business. I'd see how long I could keep them going. I knew a lot of company secrets back in the early 2000s, so
Optima,
you're all on notice.
Optima calling.
Yeah, exactly.
You hit puberty? All right.
Anyway.
Hey, how about those Winter Olympics?
Seamless.
Seemed like a time for a mournful fiddle. Adnan Burke in for Trey Wingo today. Mike Golic has only walked out of one movie. Which one was it?
I've walked out of a couple. I walked out of Hope Floats.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, and I love Sandy. Big fan. I walked out of one of the...
it wasn't in your own home. You walked out of another one.
I was out of a movie theater.
Okay.
I hated, one of the ones I've hated most was Any Given Sunday. I thought was just ridiculous.
Oh, Pacino, come on.
Just ridiculous. Because so many football players read papers on the sideline. It was ridiculous. When people were saying that's the most realistic football movie, I wanted to throw up.
Well, the eyeball on the sideline.
I mean, come on. That would be North Dallas 40.
Right, and nice.
And then one of the, I can't remember the dude's name.
I know you didn't like, you didn't walk out, you didn't like Wolf of Wall Street.
I did not like Wolf of Wall Street at all.
I didn't like having to watch Wolf of Wall Street 2 seats from my grandmother.
I know. Sydney was right next to her grandmother
scene.
watching
that.
All right. Oh, man, the opening scene.
And then I hated Mother.
Awful. One of the worst movies of the year.
Horrible movie.
And it's crazy because the talent involved to get Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, Darren Aronofsky's a great director, but a terrible idea.
So we're at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And so my daughter Sydney came in there on Friday, and she stayed with me. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of was napping during the day, and I woke up and she had just started a movie.
Okay.
And I didn't realize she rented this movie because we watched this movie. I'm watching this movie, and every couple minutes I'm looking at her saying, what the hell are we watching? And at the end, I realized she actually paid money for it by renting it off the TV, and I was disgusted that we actually paid money for The Shape of Water.
13 Academy Award nominations, leading all the numbers.
13 ridiculous nominations.
No, come on,
if it wins
design.
one, it's a joke. No. It's like the dumbest movie of all time. I got to watch A Girl Who Can't Speak and A Fish Man.
Yes.
Do it.
No,
I got to watch that.
Spoiler alert.
Come on. Spoiler alert.
Jesus.
What do you mean spoiler alert? How long's the movie been out?
People are going to find out.
Okay.
It's the Oscar run.
I mean, they're filling up bathrooms with water.
Yeah, what about that
I mean,
scene?
it was ridiculous.
Musical scene.
And then to top it off, we get a dance scene between the two of them. Are you kidding me?
Sweet.
We got a fish man like classical dancing. It was the dumbest movie I've ever seen.
For the record.
Yeah.
Me and Mike Golic Jr. both liked it.
Yes, you
Ray
did.
liked it.
Yes, you
Dan
did.
liked it. The whole you are in the minority on this one.
And
the
you know
Shape
what?
of Water
I'm
is great.
fine. I will
You're
stand
on an island amidst the Shape of Water.
I'll stand alone on this one.
Cliff, Devin, have you either seen it? No. Okay. Barada hasn't seen it yet, but
Whoa.
4-1 with 3 abstaining.
I mean, well, what are they nominated for? Dumbest movie of all time?
I admit
I don't think
that
that's a category yet.
It should be.
Did you at least, Michael Shannon is the bad guy. Do you like him?
Oh,
okay,
he's great.
He was all right.
Michael Shannon's all right.
was
Richard
all right.
Jenkins, the neighbor. He's sweet. He's trying to help her out. Got the pie.
I hated it. I hated
Cats.
it.
What happened to the
Oh,
cat?
the poor
brutal.
cat. I mean,
You
I
had to
won't-
like that part.
I
Right?
said I won't say anything. You know,
Right.
spoiler alert: the cat
Yeah,
gets
yeah.
eaten. You know,
Did you have any sense or the theme of otherness being?
I kept
Supportive.
waiting for it to get better. I'm watching. It was kind of like Mother. I'm
Yeah.
watching it, going, okay, something's going to make me really lock into. There's going to be a great ending.
First hour of Mother's all right.
I kept-
Suspenseful.
yes.
You're
Well,
waiting
yes,
for
yes,
it.
yes,
Right.
yeah,
And you're
I
going,
agree.
Something's going on.
You're waiting for a logical conclusion
Correct.
involving
Yes.
these really
Brutal.
competent parts
Exactly.
before an overt allegory beats you to death.
And
Yeah,
then
like, oh,
this,
got it.
I'm
Mother
just
Nature.
waiting and waiting, and the next thing you know, they're filling up
Yeah.
a tub, and she's putting a towel under the door, which certainly will hold on all the water, filling
See,
up an entire bathroom.
You're looking at
Are
too
you
realistically,
kidding me?
Mike. It's sweet. It's romantic.
It's stupid.
Suspension of disbelief.
It is stupid.
It's a love story about outsiders. Love doesn't have to look or sound a particular way.
It's a fish man.
Lose yourself in the beauty of the
There's
moment.
It's one thing if a love
One of
story,
your favorite movies involves oil drillers destroying an asteroid.
Hey, that's realistic. Okay, there's a meteor coming toward Earth right now, and we need Harry Stamper. Okay. Who sat around? How high was the person
Guillermo
sitting
del Toro.
around saying, you know what? I need a fish man
Right.
and a girl who can't speak to do it in the bathroom. I mean, seriously.
I don't think we'll be recommending Pan's Labyrinth to Dad anytime soon.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
What
And
if I took-
13 really?
13 Academy Award nominations. Guillermo del Toro is a lock to win Best Director. It's got a good chance at Best Picture. He's either that, 3 Billboards,
Best
Lady Bird.
picture.
I mean, what did the music at least get
Yeah,
you? I mean,
it's
beautifully scored.
probably
a
gonna win
great
for score.
I couldn't get past how dumb it was to have anything seep into my mind. Even Sydney, who is
Yeah.
more like you, Mike, in movies.
That was the one that shocked
than me. Sydney even said
She
this
hated
was
it.
horrific.
What
horrific.
about Chris? Your wife would be more in tune
There's
with-
no shot. No shot.
But
She
she
would like
liked
that.
Lady Bird. She likes...
She did. I see. I cautioned them because I know
You did.
enough my
You
parents take. I know the movies that I need to venture out and see alone. And this was one I told both of them. I said, just stay far away from this. You're not going to enjoy it. Your lack of enjoyment is going to pollute my own enjoyment of the
Right.
movie.
Your brother Jake, no chance he'd
Oh,
watch.
no,
No,
chance.
no,
Jake,
no, no,
Jake,
no,
I
no.
definitely-
Jake's not a big. Jake would have left. Jake, opening credits would.
Jake would have never gone.
No, that's exactly right.
He'd have dropped us off.
I tried because I can lose myself in a movie as well as anybody can.
Right.
Hence, Harry Stamper going up and drilling an 800-foot hole, to blow up a
Yeah,
meteor.
I just would have known. Well, Shape of Water is not
I mean,
your MO.
oh my God, who comes up with this idea?
When it wins Best Picture, when I'm going to be here screaming, going, Shape of Water wins Best Picture. When I'm there at the Academy Awards, what is your reaction going to be?
I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. I normally disagree with the artsy, awards and all that kind of thing.
I need a camera on you and Ben Lyons at the Oscars and a camera on my dad at home just shock and awe.
What I can't wait is for the fish to give the acceptance speech. That'll be great.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast.
What a day, what a show, what a time.
I tell you what, a great sports night last night. Yeah. No doubt about it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident When it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life, Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Hello, I'd like to deposit this to checking.
Fate is a fickle master.
What?
The future is uncertain.
Okay, and what's my account balance?
The horizon is cloudy. I see a long, treacherous voyage filled with great peril.
Look, can I just get a deposit slip or something?
A fortune bank teller. Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I see a yellow-eyed serpent and a low APR.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
The great Dan Dockich, ESPN 1070 The Fan, 107.5 FM in Indianapolis, always sensational on our college basketball coverage, no matter who he's with. Him and Jason Benetti, particularly great. We'll get to the hoops in a sec, Double D, but I want to ask you first, big news in Indianapolis, Frank Reich, now the head coach of Indy. Your reaction is?
My reaction is absolutely great. And I have no idea if he can coach or not, but you got the guy that was part of a staff that caused all kind of angst for Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick. That's good enough for me. You got the Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator over the Super Bowl losing offensive coordinator. I'm good with it, Adnan. And he seems like an adult. Like, he just looks like an adult. And when I talk to a couple people, one guy, Rick Venturi, who was an offensive coordinator for 30 years, you know what, in the NFL, and he says, hey, he's got presence. My question is, why don't you go after him first? I mean, why was McDaniels so much the guy? But good for Indy. They got a great guy, at least seemingly a great guy. I have no idea. But they got the guy that beat the guy that caused a lot of angst for Indianapolis, Josh McDaniels. And I'm good with it, Adnan. I'm great with it.
Yeah, it's always interesting when offensive or defensive coordinators become head coaches for the first time and you get asked that question, how do you think they're going to do? I have no idea. We have no clue how they're going to do at all. I mean, you only know him as a coordinator. And it is interesting because with Josh McDaniels, he didn't have obviously the head coach in Denver didn't go all that well for him. And you're the offensive coordinator for Tom Brady, so maybe it gets skewed a little bit. I'm curious, Dan, what were your thoughts? I mean, we were a press conference away from it being Josh McDaniels. As we were leading up to that and everybody there thought it was going to be Josh McDaniels, what was everybody's thought about him?
Well, my thought was I was great with that too. And because here's why, Mike. And I'm with you. I said, and I've said this on numerous radio shows, anybody that you hired this year is a guess, right? Like when the Colts hired Tony Dungy, Mike, you kind of knew what you were getting. This is going way back. All right, this year, Nagy, the guy going to Chicago, you don't know. McDaniels coming to Indianapolis, you don't know. You can go on history and say it's not going to work. You can go on, well, that's 10 years ago and say it is going to work. But, Mike, it's a guess. Right, it's a guess. The guy down in Arizona, it's a guess. There was no, hey, this is really good because of past history. So my thing with McDaniels was easy. Although I thought he had a very punchable face, I liked the fact that he had been a head coach. I liked that he had been a head coach. I can't criticize him for leaving and not coming to Indy because I did the same thing to West Virginia in 2002. I took the job for 5 days, then I went back to Bowling Green. But I was good with it. I want an offensive guy with head coaching experience. But I said it every day. Whoever you get here, whatever team gets, whatever guy, it's just a guess. It is not like bringing in Polian and Dungy back in the day who had proven themselves. I actually thought that Jack Del Rio wouldn't have been a bad choice because, let's face it, Mike, 2 years ago, if Derek Carr doesn't get hurt, Jack Del Rio may have been in the Super Bowl. They had as good a team, maybe the best team in the AFC. So it's a guess, but like I said, Mike, I just like the fact that the guy that turned down Indianapolis got beat by the guy that we ultimately got. That's the only thing I got to go on.
Doc, you've always got your ear to the grindstone. What have you heard about Luck's shoulder? What are the odds we get back to seeing this guy being the stud that he once was?
Hey, I've said this the night of the McGregor-Holyfield fight. The McGregor-Mayweather fight. I got told by a guy that he would not play all year. All right, he didn't play all year. The same guy also told me, don't be surprised if he doesn't play next year. Now, I'm not sticking to that. I'm just telling you that the guy was right. Only guy around here that said that Luck was not going to play last year And he turned out to be right when everybody was saying around here, week 5, week 3, week 4, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going this route. I think Andrew Luck's going to play. Whatever surgery they said he had, I had the same thing. My wife had the same thing, but worse. I mean, and I'm not an elite athlete. I'm just telling you, you know, what the surgery they said we had, and I can't imagine you can't play after having that. Now, maybe he had a different surgery. Maybe they lied to us. I don't know. I'm just going by what they said. I got to believe Luck's going to play, but in the back of my mind, I go to the guy that the night of the Mayweather fight told me he will not play in 2017. He didn't, and told me don't be surprised if he doesn't play the next year. So I think he plays, but who knows?
Well, the obvious question, since you had that surgery as well, could you be the quarterback this year if need be?
Hey, they tightened it up. There's a lot of Nolan Ryan in this wing. I mean, I said, give me Nolan Ryan, not Tommy John, baby. Get the fountain of youth going. Hey, I'm bald, I'm fat, everything is gone, but this right arm is nice from that surgery. It's not bad, Mike.
The always self-deprecating Dan Dakich. Yeah.
So now let's look at the past the Colts. We saw that the committee came out with their top 16. Again, talking points, really, kind of like in college football, where they give you their top 25 midway through the season and really get that first 4 to see where it's going to go. Your thoughts on, I guess, overall on the fact that we're getting that top 16 now?
Useless. I mean, Mike, it's just useless. Let's be honest, Mike. I mean, Mike, you say a lot of things. I watch you guys every morning, and you and I think a lot alike. Like, come on. I mean, there's a lot of game left. My son's at Ohio State, and they're in the top 16. Called me last night. He goes, Dad, why do they do this? I go, Andrew, I don't know. He goes, there's a lot of game left. We got 2 games this week on the road. The whole thing changes. So that's my opinion of it, Mike. I think it gets people talking about college basketball, which is cool. But let's be honest, man. College basketball, I was talking to Frank Martin at South Carolina. They beat Kentucky, came back from like 14 at home, beat Kentucky. So that's on a Saturday. I talked to him the next Monday, 8 days later, and he's the most miserable human being alive because he lost 2 games at home during the week. That's just college hoops. Virginia, Villanova, Purdue, Xavier, all good by me. I'm going to be in Auburn on Wednesday with PJ doing the crossover for Kentucky at Auburn. We'll see how that goes. I like that Ohio State's in there because I'm a definite, absolute homer. I think Ohio State should be the number 1 seed in the entire tournament, but that's just me being a homer whose son is on the team. Michigan State's been fascinating. I think they're playing as well as anybody. Cincinnati, nobody even watches because, let's face it, it's Cincinnati. Duke, everybody watches. And Duke could lose 17 games in a row, and they'll be a number 1 seed. So you know how it goes. It doesn't matter to me right now. It matters to fans. It gets people talking. But I know I'm just using Ohio State. A team like Ohio State's got to go on the road twice this week. As we sit here on a week from today, if we're talking, they might be number 2 in the country. They might be out of the whole thing. So that's the way college hoops goes.
Dan Dakich hosts the podcast Courtside along with Seth Greenberg. Listen weekly on the ESPN app and Apple Podcasts. Double D, it'll be me, Seth, and Fonz, our producer Stephen Oling, Wednesday night. So we'll be in studio for the crossover. So I'm going to be listening to everything you're saying. You're calling a game with PJ Carlissimo. Who's doing play-by-play?
Adnan Virk gets to sit in between 2 of the worst voices in TV. PJ's got that East Coast gruff. I've got the nonsensical Gary Indiana, D's Dem and Dozers. So it's not going to be good. And, by the way, I had an argument with somebody that tried to tell me, Dave Fleming, play-by-play guy, please the best, tried to tell me that Hail Caesar wasn't the worst movie in the history of the world, and I told him he's out of his mind. It's the worst movie ever made.
Is that the one with George Clooney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coen Brothers.
I never saw it.
Dan saw it, and then he texted, and then I was on his radio show, and he goes, seriously, is this the worst movie ever made? And we put it up there with Caddyshack 2 among the all-time worst.
Yeah.
But, Double D, have you seen The Shape of Water yet?
No.
Okay.
Well, no.
I thought it was great. I don't think you'll like it, but Golick has a hot take. It's up for 13 Oscar nominations.
Dan, if you and what you said, and I agree with you and I are kind of alike, don't go see it. It's up for 13. I don't know who's on this committee. It's the worst movie I've ever seen. I'm waiting for the fish man to do the acceptance speech. It's just a joke.
Lee Ross might be into it, Dan. Mute woman, fish man, romantic film set in the 1940s. It's beautiful.
It's horrific.
It's beautifully made. What have you seen?
And you know I love you, but I swear to God, after 700 years of listening to Golic in the morning, and being basically Golic's age, I defer to Golic on almost all things. I consider myself the commissioner of all things, but I consider Golic to be the de facto vice commissioner of all things, because when he speaks, I have a tendency to listen. I do.
Okay.
And I'm not going to that movie. I'm not renting that movie. I'm not watching that movie.
Next time
you couldn't pay me to go to that movie.
Next time you need to discipline your kid, you make him watch that movie.
Andrew Dawkins goes into The Shape of Water with his Ohio State teammates. Listen, what's the last movie you saw, Dan? Remember, I steered you right, Wizard of Lies. You liked the Robert De Niro, Bernie Madoff movie. I don't know if you saw it.
I did not see that.
Yeah. That was really good. Lee and I went to a movie, and I hate to say this, but I can't remember what it was. But no, I cried 3 times. No, I cried
Lady
3
Bird.
times. What's that movie?
Lady Bird.
No, Wonder. Is it Wonder?
Oh, Wonder. Julia Roberts. Yes.
Oh, okay. You cried 3 times. I like that.
Hey, Mike, my wife, I had a bit of a cold. She goes, "Why are you sniffling? Quit sniffling." I go, "I'm crying here."
Oh, that is awesome.
She didn't think you'd show that kind of emotion.
Wow.
Dan Dakich.
Thanks, Dan.
ESPN 1070 The Fan, 107.5 FM in Indianapolis. Shout out to producer Kyle, the entire crew. Enjoy Frank Reich, and can't wait for the game Wednesday. You, PJ, and Adam Amin. Going to be a blast.
Thanks, Dan.
I can't wait. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast.
It was all sort of one big, giant Jell-O mold.
Very interesting where that went.
Let's bring in Julie Foudy, 2-time FIFA Women's World Cup champion, Olympic gold medalist, and covering her 6th Olympics. Julie, thanks so much for joining us. We'll start with Red Gerard, 17-year-old, originally from Ohio, first gold for USA at the Games. Have you had a chance to talk to him? How crazy was that Red was able to deliver with a gold?
Well, the best part about Red Gerard is we actually met up with him before the Olympics, and I was like, "Hey, what's it going to be like to go to your first Olympics?" He's like, "I don't really think about it. It's day to day, And I was like, "Really? You never think about it?" He's like, "No, really, I don't." I'm like, the life of a 17-year-old, but he's got that snowboarder's mentality of, I just live day to day, man, and it's great to be here. I just want to enjoy the powder. But it's been fun to see the enthusiasm since he's been here. He said, of course, he crashed on his first 2 runs, and he said, "I'm standing at the top of that hill for my last run, and I know I got to land it here." And all of a sudden, all that pressure started to filter in. And he's got this huge family, crazy family. 18, I think, in his family are here celebrating with him. So that was neat to see him be able to pull that off yesterday.
Yeah. I got to imagine you have to have a lot of questions ready for a 17-year-old, just not really sure what direction.
Cool.
That is cool, dude. Yeah, all good. See what my family's all doing? They're all slamming beers out there watching me win. It was awesome. So if we're going to start to make a medal run here, Julie, where is it going to be?
Well, we saw Jamie Anderson, of course, today, grab the second medal. And then, of course, if the wind actually cooperates in the weather, then I think you're going to see some, in skiing as well. And Michaela Schifrin starting on Wednesday. And here's a skier in Michaela Schifrin that could pull in seriously 3 Olympic gold medals in this Olympics alone. I mean, she's that good. She's qualified for the 5 different events, her first 2 events, and I think actually the weather helps her because her first event now will be the Wednesday slalom, which is her best event. So if she gets a gold in that, and then she continues on Thursday to the giant slalom, which is also another really good event of hers, and she's probably also going to race the combined. So I think you're going to start to see some golds flying in on the alpine ski course.
Michaela Schifrin, obviously, as you mentioned, Julie, an absolute stud. How about Lindsey Vonn? In her last Olympics, enters the game as the most decorated female skier in history. What is her approach? What's a realistic expectation for Lindsey Vonn?
Well, I think Lindsey Vonn has been gearing for 8 years for this because we know, of course, that she was injured going into Sochi. And the thing about Lindsey Vonn is she's known as the all-time greatest skier. So many consider her to be that. But she only has, and only is relative, of course, a gold and a bronze at the Olympics, she'll say, to show for it. And so in her 4th Olympics, I think she's anxious to say, listen, I'm going to show why I'm the best, and I'm actually going to do it in Olympics. And given, what she's been through with her injuries and the setbacks and the crashes, I mean, you just go through the list of injuries, for her, and really not knowing if she was going to be able to qualify for this Olympics, and then this turnaround and this late surge, and now she's at the top of her game, which is exactly where she wants to be, skiing so well going into this Olympics.
Julie Foudy joining us, inducted in the National Soccer Hall of Fame in 2007, covering her 6th Olympics. As you're outside at these events, it looks like just when I was standing outside Minneapolis for the Super Bowl, as far as how cold it is, but how much is it really affecting? We know the wind is, but the cold affecting some of these events.
Oh, I know I am a California kid. You heard that grunt. And I am a bit soft, self-admittedly. But it is biting. And it's the wind. It's just howling all the time. And so you can see today, Jamie Anderson was talking after she won gold, how there was a debate amongst some of the riders on, should we be doing this? And is it even safe to be doing this? And it's a bit of a lottery whether you got the wind to die down on your run or not. And they ended up going forward with it. But there was a lot of actually discontent about that because they thought it was actually unsafe to do that. So it definitely, we've seen what it's done with men's downhill, got delayed until Thursday as well. Giant slalom today for the women. So it's affecting it. But this is the Winter Olympics, right? They're used to these conditions is what they say. But still, to see 50-mile-per-hour gusts of wind, it's a bit biting. And when you're standing on that hill, it gets chilly, especially for a summer Olympic athlete, which is why I know I never would have lasted with the Winter Olympics.
They're very self-deprecating, Julie Foudy. You would crush no matter what, Julie. We all know that.
Oh yeah, I would crush the half pipe.
The good news is the figure skating was indoors. I was locked in. Great to see Mirai Nagasu nailing that triple axel. Was so great, and the U.S. getting the bronze. Canada's so great that they get the gold. Tessa Virtue, Scott Moir, you can make a case. Them in the ice dance is as good as any athletes in their discipline, right? So good.
Yeah, and Nagasu, I mean, there's another great story because here's a woman, and the first American woman, as you mentioned, to nail that triple axel in the Olympics, but she actually finished third in nationals before Sochi, doesn't get selected onto that Olympic team, even though she'd been in Vancouver at the prior Olympics. And so she had to wait 8 years to get back to this moment. And I was actually talking with her before the Olympics as well. And she was great because she said, listen, I knew I had to do something different this time around. And the difference is I wasn't afraid to do something different. So she had been trying for that triple axel for a while. And she said, I've got to do something bold, take a risk for me to separate from the pack. And that's exactly what she did today to help the team get to the bronze.
Julie Foudy joining us again, Olympic gold medalist of her own. We were talking about kind of crossing over into other sports. So, and the U.S. women's hockey team. Now, I know they won back in '98, and then Canada won the next 4 years. I know you're happy about that, Adnan. But you were learning to play a little hockey. How did that go?
Oh, yes. I think I'm going to be a natural at that one as well. I'm afraid you might have some video on that if you're actually talking about this.
All right. Look at Julie ready to rock.
Dang it. I actually hung out and with the women prior to the Olympics, and Hillary Knight was like, hey, do you want me to teach you how to do a slap shot? And I was like, yes, I would love to. And so she's teaching me, and I'm all into it, and I'm lined up, and I'm locked in, and I'm thinking, I am just going to nail this upper corner. And literally, and you do hit the ice before to torque your hockey stick. And I was into it, and boom, laid out straight onto the ice, flat on my face. And the best part about it is they almost fell from laughing at me. So, but I actually got to see them in their first game against Finland. And that story, 20 years, 1998, as you mentioned, was the last time they've won an Olympic gold medal. And Canada has won the 4 since. And so all they talk about with this team, and especially after in Sochi, they were up by 2 goals and they go into overtime, lose it, this heart-wrenching loss. They're ready, I think, to get that gold.
It was an epic comeback by Canada, and you're right. Canada-USA women's hockey, as good a rivalry as you'll see at the Olympics. Julie Foudy, sensational work. Thanks so much.
And we got to ask you one more thing, Julie, before you go. We have said that, you were an athlete, I was an athlete, Adnan is Adnan. That
CFL.
that we could all do, we could probably, if we had to pick an event to do that without getting hurt initially, we could probably all do curling. So taking that out of it, what event, if you trained for a bit, you would be able to do in the Winter Olympics?
Cross country skiing.
Yeah.
I did. Not biathlon. I've never picked up a gun. But I did have a good engine, I considered, in soccer. So I feel like with cross country, I mean, isn't that how Tonga, our favorite guy from Tonga got into the Winter Olympics? As everyone goes through cross country. I'm going through cross country.
That's a good call. Karate in the Summer Olympics and cross country in the Winter Olympics, oiled up in both Olympics. So it worked out okay.
I certainly would not be doing that half pipe. That is just nuts when you see the steepness of that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'd have to do a half pipe before I did the half pipe if I was going to do anything like that. Pre-game half pipe.
Thanks so much, Julie.
Thanks, Julie.
All right, you guys.
See ya.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast.
Let's not expect too much. There's only one person out there that's expecting way too much out of this guy too early. We know who that is. It's his father.
Amin Elhassan is in the house, and Amin always brings lots of creativity to the table. First and foremost, where are you at in terms of interest in the Winter Olympics?
My dad is into it now.
Nice.
So now I'm into it, but in the most ignorant way possible. Just, could I do that? Would I do that? Kind of like the discussion you guys were having.
Well, that's which one would you love to be able to do?
Well, I heard you guys in the last segment,
right.
And I was in the booth or in the production studio over there, and I said, 538 actually has a quiz. So I took the quiz.
This is going to be
It's
great.
like 6 or 7 questions, and it turns out curling is my sport. So,
really?
I love that.
I play shuffleboard,
Get
so
it
I
in,
feel
Amin.
like...
So there's a test or a quiz that will let you know. Oh, okay.
So I have it here, Mike.
Okay.
Which event would you like to compete in? Men's events or women's events? The first question. Men's events. Physique. Are you tall? Not particularly. Ceiling fans are my worst enemy. So I will take the ceiling fans are my worst enemy. You'll have to do your own, obviously. When were you or will you be in your physical prime? My student years, mid-20s, closer to 30.
I mean, is there a none of the above for you?
I wanted to say, I don't know if I excelled at any of these, but I'll go with student years.
Okay.
How badly do you want to win gold? Just one gold? I'd be fine with a silver or bronze. I'm mostly there for the free stuff, which, of course, I'm going to answer 3 on that one. I am mostly there. What's your favorite workout? We've got, lots of different gifts here. One of them is Snoopy sleeping, so I'll take that one.
These are all
At an amusement park, you head straight for the tallest roller coaster? Definitely not. Claustrophobic, which Mike knows about me. Teacups, I don't mind. I can do that with the kids. Bumper cars is my thing.
Oh, I like that.
Teamwork. After a long day, I like to curl up on the couch with a book, catch it, of course, movie BAM. So catch it with my book.
There you go.
You don't even need to read the
You
book.
don't have to read any more than that.
Friday night, what are you wearing? No such thing as too much spandex.
Oh.
Athleisure depends on which club we're going to. It's not really those 3. It's kind of just jammies, but we'll go with athleisure. And so, curling!
Yours is curling.
Curling!
Yeah. As you were answering those, Stanzik was answering mine. I was telling with answers. Mine is freestyle skiing.
See, skiing. I knew it.
Are you kidding me? I can't even tell you how badly I would get hurt doing that.
It's a torn ACL waiting to happen.
Oh, my God.
Every time I see skiers, I'm like...
It's unreal. I mean...
Your choices for freestyle skiing only matched up on 4 of 7 criteria. Mine for curling was 5 of 7 criteria.
I had 6 of 7.
6 of 7. I mean, it's definitely.
You guys should make a curling team. There you go. Wow, that's impressive. Freestyle skiing, I couldn't even fathom doing that, of how bad that would hurt my body.
You're so tall. I mean, that's.
Oh, yeah. There's no way I'm bending. I'm breaking. Yeah.
All right, well, we got that out of the way. Find out your own quiz and figure it out at 538.com. To the hoops we go. All right, I mean, this is unbelievable what Cleveland did.
Yeah, Cavs are back.
Shaping their roster like that, statement win, all the rest of it, just having your front office experience, how radical was that, what they were able to do and pull off on the fly?
Extremely radical. I think they sent out, once somewhere near 40% of their minutes played out the door. So this is in essence a brand new team. And without the benefit of a training camp or even a couple of months to kind of warm to each other, so they got to figure out things out on the fly. The good news is when you have LeBron James offensively, that comes very easily. One of the things that not a lot of people are talking about, everyone says they got younger, they got more athletic, which they did, but their 3-point shooting radically got better. The guys they sent out combined were, I think, 30 or 31% 3-point shooters.
Wow.
These guys are 38, 39%, and the volume is much higher. Not only do they shoot it better, but they're much more willing shooters because Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, these guys aren't 3-point shooters. So whatever they take would be limited anyway. So we saw it last night or yesterday afternoon. You put LeBron with 4 shooters on the floor, that thing is still rock solid. He's finding guys everywhere on the floor. So that part's going to be easy. The defense is harder because it's not the playground where like, you get your man, I get my man. The NBA defenses are all about schemes and help and recovery and knowing when you're on weak side and then switching and all that. And so, while these guys are on paper better defenders than the guys they sent out, there still is a lot of getting to know one another and one another's tendencies, particularly on the defensive end, that needs to happen. And they don't have a lot of practice time from here on out. So it's a lot harder to learn these things. We were talking yesterday. I think one of the things they're going to start doing is in shoot-arounds, instead of prepping for the team they're going to play, they're literally just going to practice because that's the only opportunities they're going to have.
So along those lines, 27 regular season games left before they hit the playoffs. What is the expectation of when their water will kind of settle into where it's going to be?
Well, I mean, again, with LeBron, you're gifted offensively. The idea is, to be honest, it's not even about wins and losses at this point. Obviously, they got to make the playoffs, but they're going to do that. It's more about getting things right, and so they can afford, like I said, to sacrifice shoot around and maybe be a little bit less prepared for an opponent in return for, in April, are we going to have this down? And I think that's their priority, really.
It's interesting now because everybody's just like everyone's off the Cavs wagon, right? I mean,
not me, never been.
No. Mike was in all the way, but it was like, all right, my Raptors, like, here we go. Finally, Lowry, DeRozan, better bench, good young team.
Right.
Yeah, give a little love to the Raptors.
Absolutely, and beyond that, I think the thing that people are missing, because I've seen the praise of the Raptors a lot lately,
right?
Particularly Coach Casey. People say, same old, let's see what happens in May.
Correct.
The difference is they've changed their style of play completely. And I know it's hard because it's the same coach, it's the same star players, it's a couple of the same role players. How could they have changed?
Right.
Coach Casey took Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan to Golden State for the finals last year. They sat there and he said, if we want to have a chance to have greater success than what we've done here, we got to play like that, meaning the ball doesn't stick, meaning it's not just everyone watching two guys and everyone else fans out. Right. The ball's moving, the bodies are moving. It's a completely different style of play. And that's really hard for a coach who's won division titles, coaching a certain way, for players who've been all-stars multiple times, playing a certain way, and been all of them being rewarded with money, being who they are. And for someone to tell you, nah, that's not good enough, that's incredibly hard for them to make an about face like that. And so I have a lot of respect for what the Raptors have done. And even if you tell me they're at the same winning pace as they were last year, I think they're ahead. But it doesn't matter, because what matters is the style of play has changed. They've gone deeper. They've gone on the bench, and they're young players.
OG Anunoby, the Van
Vliet. I mean, these guys have played really, really well and rewarded Coach Casey for his trust in them, because, Coach Casey's an old school guy. I don't play young guys because they don't know what to do in tight situations. And he's given them that trust, and they rewarded him.
But you feel better now? Yeah,
I feel great now.
Okay,
actually.
Back to the best team in the East, the Cavaliers again. Now, getting back to them, I had heard people talking about that the players that got traded away, Sands and IT, who hadn't been there, and really, Derek and Dwayne, who just got there, but maybe some of that because they've been around, is that people kind of got tired of the LeBron thing, and these new guys that came in never have played with LeBron before. Three of them 25 and the other 31, and there's that initial excitement. What is there to that of the old guard out and the new in?
I think chemistry is an issue, right? And the chemistry was so bad, and that's not I always have to stress with people that doesn't mean these are bad people,
right?
Just sometimes you don't get along with people, especially if you're in a stressful environment. Especially if you haven't had a lot of time, because you think about Isaiah Thomas being out as much as he was, and Derrick Rose as well. Everything is always a brand new experience. They hadn't had a lot of time to get it right, and then things start going wrong, and we only have 30 some odd games left in the year. Tensions boil over, and so they had to clear it out. The other thing was, you talk about Derrick Rose, a former MVP. You talk about Dwayne Wade, a Finals MVP. You talk about Isaiah Thomas, a franchise player a year ago. It's hard for those guys to all of a sudden, hey, you all gotta fit in. You all gotta be role players, because that's LeBron's kingdom. There's no other way we're gonna play this. And so when you bring in these new guys, it's not just that they're more athletic or younger physically, they're younger mentally. It's okay for them to defer to LeBron James and get in where they fit in, because, hey, this is the best we've ever had. Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, never played a playoff game in their lives. Rodney Hood, played last year in the playoffs for the first time. They don't have a wealth of experience to lean on, and they're not superstar players. And then George Hill has always been a solid kind of vet guy. It's just a better fit for where the Cavs are right now.
Boston Celtics, obviously, they're frustrated after that loss last night. Talking to me and Al Hassan right now on Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2. The retirement ceremony, why was it, first of all, after the game?
So, typically, the league has a rule on how long your halftime can be. When you have a jersey retirement, some other celebration, they give you an extension. Anything longer than that, they fine you. And that's something that a lot of people don't know. It's not just, hey, shame on you, it's pay up. And so teams are very wary about that. Now, you have an afternoon game. So the game ends early, so that means we can do it after the game, and no one's staying until 11 or 12 to watch this thing.
Gotcha.
Plus, you got the Cavs who are going to stay in town. They had James Posey and Ty Lue. They were coaches on that staff.
Right. Gotcha.
So they got to stay. And then if you did it before the game, then people have to rush to get to the game. Now you know everyone's in the building. It just made a lot of sense on all levels.
And I love the Paul Pierce's jacket.
Yeah,
absolutely. You didn't see that thing.
Floor, right?
You've got to see that. It's just fantastic. All right.
How about, by the way, KG wearing the hoodie? I mean, listen.
I just feel like when it turns into a gimmick, it's one thing. It's like, how does it stick? But it's like, now I won't be seen anywhere without
it. Yeah.
That's a little much.
As far as Isaiah Thomas, tell us how it got to the peak where it got in Boston with him, and to where he is now coming off the bench with the Lakers, and who knows where he'll be in the summer.
Mike, I'll tell you like this. You ever flown, you fly first class, I'm assuming.
Occasionally.
Yeah, they ever have to go back to coach?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Not first class.
Exactly, right? Now, you might have been riding coach all your life. The moment you sat in first class and they get you the hot towel and all that, and then the moment you have to go back to, can I get peanuts or pretzels?
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. You can say, oh, but you've done it before. I know I've done it before, but I got used to something else. And so Isaiah Thomas went from a guy who was kind of bouncing around to went to a storied franchise, won a bunch of games, and people are talking about him as one of the best players in the league. And now you got to go back to being just another guy.
Well, let me ask you this way
then.
Is he a first class player? Or is he really a coach player who's not going to get maxed out now?
The money thing is a different scenario because we're also talking about his hip, and that's a big issue. I'm biased. I don't like short guards. Just as a basketball guy, I think it's too much. It's too gimmicky. The things you have to do to make up for their deficiencies are just too much strain. You can do it. It's just you've got to find a bunch of extraordinary players to surround them with. I'd rather build it with a more traditionally sized guard. He's really good. And as evidence, he went to the Lakers in his first game. It looked like nothing, like it's just Boston Isaiah all over again, because it's the system. It's not just a system. It's just how he's being used, right? I guess that makes it the system. But, it's a lot harder when you've got to fit in with other guys. And if it's not all geared to your talents, I can see why he would get frustrated. But to me, guys like that, honestly, they're backup guards. There's a guard they're Lou Williams, they're Ben Gordon from a few years ago.
Wow.
You come in off the bench, you get buckets. I know you could average 30 in your sleep in this league, but I'm trying to win. And my best use for you is not playing you 36 minutes, because if I do that, then I have to worry about defense and a bunch of other
Any chance he's with the Lakers after this year?
It would have to take a lot of striking out on the Lakers side. I think, I'll be honest with you. I said, if I'm Isaiah Thomas, I asked for a buyout. I'll come off the bench for Toronto. And have a chance to win.
Right.
Coming off the bench for the Lakers, this is wasting my time, especially if they don't have any intentions of signing.
Right, they're clear of the cap space. They want to get one of these big fishes and go from there. Al Hassan, by the way, how is it going to rivalry between Black in My Day and Back in My Day? For those of the Dan Le Batard show, you going back and forth with Greg Cody. Do you have they done they got to have a Guillermo put on the poll question? What do you prefer, Black in My Day versus Back in My Day?
No, I prefer Back in My Day. You always got to prefer the original. So
I like your version though. Too.
I mean, I try.
Speaking of, I know you love movies as I do, and you love particularly superhero films. I know Black Panther. I know you, Jamal Hill. You guys are going to know that terrain. Now, I'll be honest, it's coming out this Friday. Mike's going to go see it Thursday night.
I'm seeing it Thursday.
It's going to be gigantic, I think, which you're concerned about.
I hope so. Yeah, I think
mid-February, there's nothing else out right now. NBA All-Star Week, people are going to crush it. I liked it. I thought it was well made, and I think Ryan Coogler, amazing story. Fruitvale Station, indie movie. Then he goes up, makes Creed, bigger budget. Now it's gigantic, $100 million Marvel movie. Here we go. And I thought it was great the way he was able to tell the origin story. I'm just suffering from a little bit of superhero fatigue. It's a good movie, but I didn't feel riveted by it. Now, I saw it on the Disney lot. Literally, Ben Lyons, my buddy, screened it. And this woman afterwards was like, watching that movie, I just feel so proud to be black. Like, she was like, this is like, it's more than a female empowerment movie. It's a black pride movie. So I'm like, this could be like a movement movie, but I'm just telling you, it's a lot of superhero.
This is my one rebuttal is you there's very little reference to prior Marvel movies, the Avengers, or whatever.
That's
a little
true.
bit. There's one bad guy who's from another movie.
But you're right. There's no Iron Man.
But you can sit and watch that movie having not watched anything else.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. I think it doesn't require a whole lot of context.
You can give me superhero movies any day of the week. Yeah. I love them. You're jaded now because you're too worried about a fish man and a woman that can't speak.
Shape of Water,
in a movie together.
I
mean, my God.
What do they? I mean, he's gonna.
Don't go see it.
I was going to say we need to get him to see Shape of Water, and then you see Black Panther, and then we can just
don't go see it.
I must admit, when I first saw the first trailers a year ago, I thought this looks dumb,
and it is.
So I'm holding on.
But Del Toro.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro is an amazing director. But I want to go back to Black Panther one thing.
Sure.
Really quick. Great cast, right? Angela Bassett and Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker always looks confused.
That's his thing.
He's always kind of like, why?
Chadwick Boseman and Lupita Nyong'o and the lady who plays Michonne on Walking Dead, whose name escapes me. Great cast.
Right.
And somehow. And
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. Right. Michael B. Jordan rose above them.
Really?
I thought he did the best job in that movie.
He is really great.
Is he playing in the All-Star, Celebrity All-Star?
He's coaching.
Oh, he's coaching.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
There's a few guys that are, just to go on the tangent now, Rappaport was always, who do you think's played the most in the Celebrity All-Star game? I feel like
it was Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart broke the
Kevin Hart, you know, was playing a lot now. I played on the team with him, then I coached him. Is it Win
Butler from Arcade Fire?
He can play.
Canadian Arcade Fire.
He can play. He won MVP one of the years of it. He can play. And when I first played in it, who was the Secretary of Education?
Oh, Arnie Duncan.
Oh my God.
He's unbelievable.
He was a collegiate player. He's a ringer.
Oh, that dude, but he played like it was the NBA Finals. It's a celebrity game. He didn't realize how to have fun during that thing. It was unreal.
Very intense. It reminded me of like Russillo when he played. Russillo was setting picks. Like it was unbelievable.
Russillo doesn't have an off switch. Like,
I missed a layup. I jumped 6 feet off the ground and missed the layup. It was embarrassing. Horrible.
They're questioning whether or not if you jump 6 feet off the ground.
6 inches, I said. 6 feet.
6 inches. Yeah, 6 feet. Unbelievable.
Oh, okay.
Obviously,
I was mistaken. 6 feet. I couldn't get 6 feet off the ground. I couldn't get 6 feet off the ground on a trampoline. Let alone 6 feet.
When are you back with Le Batard and crew?
March 1st.
All right, March 1st back there. The jump, we can catch you all the time.
Yep. This week, it's All-Star Week, so.
Killing my back. Also a great Twitter handle as well. Amin Elhassan, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Don't see Shape of Water.
Oh, he's going to.
This has been the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast. Make sure to subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, and to listen every weekday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and the ESPN app.